The following program is a PodcastOne.com production. From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, here's Steve Austin.
Sitting here with Luke Bryan. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to show Luke Bryan a picture of my dog.
Oh, goodness.
You just got a new chocolate lab about in July.
I got a chocolate lab that he just crossed over into manhood this morning.
How does a chocolate lab puppy cross over into manhood?
At 9 years old, at 9 months old, he is a man.
How you do that?
So I sent him off to get. I met a guy that he's a lawyer friend of ours that we met. He meets us and he starts talking about how much he loves his. Yeah, that thing's nice. He starts talking about, he's got a female lab that he trains and puts her in all these trials, and she's won a lot of trials. And I start talking about my new chocolate lab, and he goes, "Man, if you want me to work with him," and I liked it because he's not this big mass breeder, got 30 dogs, they're going to be in the kennel. So I sent Chalk to go live with him, and Chalk has been sleeping in a crate by their bed, and he's got him tuned up. Well, about couple months ago, the guy training him goes, "Hey man, my female's about to come in heat. You mind if we're going to do a litter with Chalk?" I said, "Hey, if you can get a 9-month-old to figure it out, go ahead." So he called me this morning and said, "Chalk figured it out." You can't.
Chalk ain't want to. He ain't want to come back.
He won't be worth a damn when he gets back. He'll be rolling up in a Rolls Royce with a 3-piece suit on when he gets back.
God dang, Luke, it's good to talk to you. I got a question to ask you. Well, first of all, let me tell you about my little story coming over here. Man, I've been living out here in California about 13 years, and I'm kind of a homebody. I don't get out too much. So, man, if you said to me, "Hey, Steve, man, you want to drive across town to West Hollywood to go talk to someone in rush hour traffic?" 9 times out of 10, my answer is going to be hell no. They said it's going to be Luke Bryan. I said, "Well, oh, hell yeah." So I loaded up at a 4-door Jeep, big-ass lift kit, 37s, had your album cranked up on my iPods. These things sound good. Yeah. And What Makes You Country would just blaze my damn eardrums. I dig that song. My question to you is, as I was talking to the people here from the record company, the timing on this album. Brother, it's deer season. I know you like to hunt. Have you been on the road, or is it a promotional swing right now? Are you going to be able to get out in the woods?
Listen, I have pretty much, put the nail in the coffin of my deer hunting season this year. It's been rough. So I took on Idol, and when I took on American Idol, I knew that my affiliation with all my Buck Commander guys, they're in Kansas right now hunting. I just talked to them, and they're having a blast. But, I told my wife, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to take on Idol, and I got my album coming out." And so I'm touring. I got an album coming out, American Idol. And the biggest thing, with all of our filming for our hunting show, Buck Commander, we got to travel. And in years past, I would go down to Texas, hunt for 4 days. I'd go to Kansas, hunt for 4 days. So I told my wife, I said, I'm not going to do that this year. But I have been able to get in the woods with my boys. I took Tate, my 9-year-old. When I'm home, I'll get them out of school a little early. When the time changes, my farm that we do most of our deer hunting at is about an hour south of town, or about 45 minutes from our house. So I'll go get the boys about 1:30, and man, when they hear their name on the intercom, they know that daddy's come in and they're going hunting. So man, they come walking down the hall. They're fired up. So I took Tate, and he killed a doe last week, and then I took Bo down. I got a place down for Thanksgiving. We went down to I got a little quail hunting farm that we do some quail hunting on. That's right on the Flint River. And we went down there, and one of our neighbors called me down there, and he said, "Hey, if you want to bring your 9-year-old over, I got a big 11 showing up pretty regularly." And I was like, "Well, how big is it?" He goes, "He's a mid-50s." And I said, "Well, we'll be there." Okay. Well, we get there, and it's, me and Bo set up, and I glass the field, and I look, and I see more than 10 points. So I said, Bo, that's our deer. And Bo got it done. And I dadgummit, I didn't have a camera on, I filmed Tate's, but I wasn't able to film Bo's. But he made a great shot, and they scored him. It wasn't even the deer we were going after. It was another buck showed up in there.
What ended up scoring?
They scored him at, now he grossed 149.5, that's a big old Georgia deer.
That is a big Georgia deer, but I always go gross. I don't do net. I don't believe in the deductions.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that's like me. I just add them up and walk around with my chest poked out.
Hey, well, let me ask you this, because I've seen a picture of you. You had a bow in your hand, so I know you're into the archery thing as well. So what caliber you starting your boys off with? Because, back in the day, man, my first buck, little spike, out there in Ozona, Texas, 22-250.
Yeah.
A little bit light, in my opinion, these days. But so the question is, what caliber for your boys? So
Bo's first deer, I had a little a 243. My first deer was I shot one with my dad's 243. So I had a single shot 243. And man, I am blanking on. Anyway, so we got out, and about 50 yards, it was about 3 inches off, and we couldn't ever, because the barrel's so short. Like at 100, it was. And my son, he killed his first buck at about 100 yards. I don't know how he hit the deer. But so I went and I got Bo shooting a you may have heard of these rifles. They're really big in Texas. McWhirter. Have you heard of a McWhirter?
Yeah.
Well, the guys that build them, they build them in Doe Run, Georgia. Doran. Anyway, it's spelled DOERUN, so it's kind of funny, but they build them down there. And the caliber that I've got Bo is shooting a 6.5 by 47 Lapua, which is a cool, it's a cool load. And then I've got Tate. I had some folks give me a Tika 260. And it had a wood stock, and Tate is small. Bo, my 9-year-old, is big. He's a big kid. So Tate, I sawed about a quarter of the stock off, and I kind of customized it. So Tate's been shooting that 260, and he does good with it.
Man, but the thing about it is, I was thinking, the 6.5 started becoming a hot round and sexy. Back in the day when the 7 mag was sexy or whatever. It's kind of faded out. 30-06 and 270 still number 1 and 2 deer guns, but you just never hear about them anymore. But my deal with the 6.5 was, man, I like the custom load stuff, but I'll get maybe a box for a certain gun, but then after that, man, it's stuff I got to find off the shelf. Yeah. So it's for me. At my place in South Texas before I sold it, because we're just more management hunting there. We're trying to grow big deer. 2,000 acres and a high fence.
But you'll run around and shoot 5 deer in an afternoon trying
get my numbers. But, man, I'm shooting a 308. I just got off a mule deer.
To drop them.
Oh, yeah. Man, dude, I built an AR-10 just as a hog gun. And, man, that thing was performing so well when a cold deer would show up. Now I'm just big on that bolt action 308, but I just got back from Nevada on a mule deer hunt 80 miles out of Winnemucca, my first mule deer hunt. And, man, I took my 7 mag. I shot 3 inches high at 100. I figured I'm going to be shooting about 300 yards. Man, we get out there, and it's a little bit different. I want to ask you about your hunting experience. I know we want to talk about the album.
Right, we'll get that.
We'll get that covered. But, god dang, dude, hunting in South Texas, you can hunt over bait in South Texas. When you're in the brush country, you kind of got to, because if you don't, you probably ain't going to see a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
So going out there to Nevada, 90% of Nevada is public land. And it's been really interesting. We took our buggies out there. We're on top of a mountain. And my brother-in-law, he knows the whole state of Nevada like the back of his hand. They sit down in their camp chairs. They got their spotting scopes on tripods, and they're both sitting there glassing. And I just got a pair of 10 power binoculars, like a rangefinders. It's good glass, but it's 10 power. So I'm sitting there thinking, I say, hey, man, how's this going down? Man, you just covered the stuff out to 1,000 yards. We're looking 3 to 5 miles. And I'm thinking, All right, so we're going to see one in 3 to 5 miles, and then what's the approach? Because, dude, out there, I want to ask you about hunting in Piney Woods. Yeah, because everything looks the same to me out there. If I wasn't hunting with my brother-in-law, like I said, he knows that place like the back of his hand, dude, I'd be turning around, and if I was going to take a deer, I'd end up so damn lost, I wouldn't know what to do. So it turned in, we rounded a corner riding a buggy, and all of a sudden there was, because the rut was on, there was a group of does, about 10 does, there's a buck in there, and as soon as I ranged that deer, it was at about 184 yards. My brother-in-law said, "You better shoot that deer." I dropped him. The deer scored 180.
Oh,
that was a good first mule deer. Anyway, the hunting experience was so much different than hunting over corn. How are you guys hunting over in Kansas? Because Kansas got some badass whitetail deer. And Georgia, you can't hunt over corn either.
Yeah, you can. They passed it a couple years ago.
Okay,
Tennessee.
back when I lived there, you couldn't.
Yeah, Tennessee, you can't, and Georgia, you can now. And what's interesting? I mean, and you can, when you look at a state like Georgia, and Georgia's real similar to Texas. I mean, all those piney woods. I mean, some of those deer, and a lot of deer in Georgia are really, really nocturnal. I mean, you're only, 90% of your pictures of a big deer in Georgia, they're just going to be nighttime pictures. So, the corn thing in Georgia has been able to, put Georgia a little bit more on the map. You see a lot bigger deer coming out of the state of Georgia. And, but Kansas, when we're out there with Roachie, we hunt Missouri and Kansas. And I don't think you can't bait in Missouri, but I think you can bait in Kansas, right?
Man, I don't know. I just know both states have damn good deer.
Well, when we go to Roachie's, I don't think, I had never hunted over bait. I can't remember the rules on that, but anyway, when we're in Kansas, man, we've had some, Roachie kills. Adam LaRoche. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to meet Adam. I mean,
heard the name.
Adam's got 2,000 acres in Kansas. He's right on the Kansas-Missouri line. So when we go to Adam's, we can get a Missouri tag and a Kansas tag. And if we tag out in Kansas, we drive 5 minutes over the line and we hunt in Missouri. So it's a pretty cool dynamic. But at the end of the day, Adam's loaded up with deer. But, heck, you sit there and it's just about, when you got a bow in your hand, it's about, it doesn't matter if you're in the most target-rich environment. All the right scenarios have got to come together. I've killed, I think through my 8 years going to Kansas, I probably killed 3 bucks. I hadn't killed an all-out trophy. I killed a big old cull 6. I killed half the time I'm killing a cull buck for Adam or something, and
half the time I just soon shoot them cull bucks. I mean,
I went.
Big trophy's great, but those culls like a big 6.
Oh yeah,
big 8. It's nice.
I tell you, it was fun. My Tennessee farm is really, really neat. We got tons of deer, but they're not ginormous bucks or whatever. But man, I went the other day. I killed an elk with my bow in September, and I hadn't drawn my bow back since September. And I told my farm manager, I said, "Hey, come sit in the blind with me." And I said, if a doe walks out, I just want to shoot something with my bow. Sure, perfect scenario. Doe comes up about 30 yards, and I made a good shot. And heck, man, I had more fun doing that than chasing, a bit. So it's all about. And now with my Tennessee farm, it's like I don't want to go shoot some 140, 150 inch buck when I can take my boys, put them on them. So when we go to Tennessee, it's really about just having fun and enjoying being out in the woods.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
Well, how did you get out in the woods to begin with? Because, I mean, god dang, hooked on it, fishing, loving every day. I mean, you like to write and sing about many of the things that you're passionate about.
Right.
The great outdoors. And you're riding four-wheelers and UTVs and stuff like that. But you grew up in Leesburg, right?
Right, yeah.
Man, I remember I was born in Austin, Texas. My parents got a divorce. We were city slickers. Moved down to Victoria between Houston and Corpus. And my stepdad was an avid hunter.
Yeah.
He sold insurance. He played guitar in a country and western dance band on weekends. And he sang a little bit. He played lead guitar. And, man, I remember because he was such an outdoorsman, he took on these 3 kids, my older brother, me, and Kevin. And there we are, walking in the woods behind him, stepping on every stick he could step on. And he's always telling us to be quiet. I'll keep his family friendly. Yeah. But that's what got me in the woods. You growing up in Leesburg, basically, you grew up on a farm. How did you get involved in hunting?
Well, Leesburg is a little bitty town.
I know. I researched it because I got a story for you 70 miles away in Ryan, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you get started?
So my dad, my dad was a big outdoorsman. My dad, his main passion probably was dove hunting. When dove season down there, all those peanuts down there. I mean, back when I was a kid, we would have just amazing dove shoots down there, limited out every day. And, there I am, my brother, he's on the stand over shooting a Sweet 16, and there I am with my dad. And I was my dad's bird dog, and I was 6, 7 years old running out getting my dad's birds. And then, we would deer hunt a good bit. I mean, my dad wasn't a deer hunter like he was in the woods every day, but my brother deer hunted every day of the season. Yeah. He worked for UPS, and his UPS job would let him have afternoons off, and then he would leave UPS and work on a big plantation. And he worked on that plantation down there to get the opportunity to guide some hunts, and he'd pick him out a good South Georgia deer every year, and he'd kill him a good deer every year. But, we grew up. I mean, my dad though, my dad would bird hunt a lot. And, about when the weather started, he wouldn't go out there when it was too hot, when it started cooling off in Georgia. We'd all load up, and we never had, he worked in agriculture, and we never had our own property. So he always had to get permission from farmers and farmers that he knew through his ag business. And, so in every year we kind of had permission to hunt a different spot. So we'd have to go get our deer stands down from one property, move them over to another, and never did like any high-end management. We just went, and it's totally different now. I mean,
it's changed.
It's changed because a lot of these, with my farms, I mean, man, we got the deer documented. We're putting protein out.
I got my name.
Yeah.
Because once you see a deer and you see those horns, I mean, that's those horns. You know that deer, and hey man, that deer ain't old enough. We're gonna carry that deer another year. But back in the day when I'd been hunting all my life and I got in the wrestling business, I got on the road, and all about being on the road. It takes away all your time, and I always wanted to bow hunt, but hell, I didn't bow hunt just because I figured my chances of getting a deer were a lot better being, with a rifle than a bow. Right. Just for range.
So you wanted to go make it happen quick.
And I get out to Atlanta, and I moved there from Texas, and I don't know anybody, so I'm not out in the woods. I stopped deer hunting. Riding down the road one day with a guy named Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, and he goes, boy, you like hunting? I said, yeah, man. I said, I like hunting, but I ain't got nowhere to go. I said, I'm used to going in Texas, and I'm living in Atlanta now. And he goes, man, I'm on a deer lease. Why don't you get on it with me? And he goes, you got a deer gun? I said, well, my rifle's back in Texas. He goes, we'll build you a 7 mag, the one I shot that mule deer with. So anyway, back in 92. And so the deer lease, turns out, is down there in Ryan, Georgia.
Yeah.
70 miles. As a crow flies or as a highway goes from where you grew up.
Yeah.
And I remember it being kind of like peanuts, but it seemed like there was also some watermelons over there because those landowners would get permits. And I was thinking to myself, how are these deer eating these watermelons? Well, I didn't know back time. They just stomp them with the hooves.
Yeah, they get in there and paw them up.
Yeah.
But
for
you can get permits.
Because I'm used to seeing a watermelon on the table with some salt and pepper shakers right there by. So it was a different ball game. But god dang, it was kind of some swampy country. We was on 2,000 acres. We was the only ones out there. Some guys from Jupiter, Florida that were never out there. And Ravishing Rick Rude came out there and joined the lease with us. I don't know if you ever watched any wrestling.
Oh, I did. That's awesome.
But god dang, I don't think the whole time, we was out there for about 3 years.
Y'all didn't.
And I don't think nobody
drank more whiskey and killed than.
Well, it was a lot of chaos going on out there. A couple of hogs did meet their demise.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the extent of it. But I was like, god dang, man, while I was over tramping in that woods, you probably would have been, give or take, a senior in high school.
Yeah. Well, in 92, I'd have been a sophomore, junior.
Yeah.
And we would, one of my best friends, man, we'd get up, when the hunting got good. Now my dad, like I said, I met some buddies and I deer hunted a little more than my dad. And
but like bird guys are kind of more bird guys, and a lot of them don't care about them deer. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, my dad my dad will kill him one deer a year, but he's not going to get out there and try to, hunt him a big buck every year. So yeah, me and my best friend, we'd get in the truck and we'd go hunt before school, we'd roll into high school with our camo on and half asleep and certainly not ready to learn anything. But, and then, when I went off to college, you get off to college and you kind of get away. You don't know anybody where you're going to college. And then when I went to Nashville, man, that was like the dark ages of my outdoor career. Growing up small town, I mean, I could go fish where I want to. I had 5 or 6 ponds I could go to, rivers, lakes, and creeks to fish. But you go to Nashville and I didn't know anybody. And so the first 4 or 5 years, I'd get home and dove hunt once a year and deer hunt a little bit. But then I got in with obviously Willie Robertson and all the guys in Buck Commander. And at the time, Chipper Jones was in there. And my first South Texas hunt was at Chipper's place down at the Double Dime.
Dude, that's about 40 miles as a crow flies from my old place.
Yeah. And, man, when I went down there, it just changed the whole game for me.
The lights go off, that South Texas brush country with those big bucks. Was that what you're talking about?
Man, it was the most, I don't think when I'd go down there, I wouldn't sleep for 5 days. And, everybody'd come in after the morning hunt and go take a nap. Well, I'd get the ranch guy, and we'd go rattle and we'd go just ride around and shoot some does and try to, do some management. So man, I can't, Chipper was really nice to me to let me go in and I can't, so funny story. I roll in off the road. Chipper used to do, the big time in like right now is when to be in South Texas.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't believe thanks for letting me pull you away from it. But Chipper, that December 15th, right when my career was getting going, I flew from Buffalo, New York, straight into San Antonio and went. And my first morning, I shot a management buck, but at the time, I mean, it was 148 inch management buck. I'd never seen a deer that big on the hoof. And I shoot him, and man, I'm freaking out, and we got it on video or whatever. So, a bunch of the Buck Commander guys, they were all bow hunting. So, I walked out there and I said, I'd never bow hunted that much. And, I said, hey guys, I've already got one down with a rifle. And I said, let me try bow hunting. So man, I got out there that afternoon and did a crash course and go get in the stand, and a management 10-pointer walks 15 yards in front of me, and I thread him right. I mean, right. Best, like I still ain't made it that good of a shot on an animal. And, man, I was hooked on bow hunting. And ever since then, I've really worked hard and tried to become a better bow hunting, but that got me hooked.
2 questions for you. You're talking about, your dad didn't want to get out there in the heat, or he waited for that cool front to set in. Man, out there in South Texas, like right now, man, if I still had my place, dude, you're sitting in a box and it's probably 90 down there right now. They had a cold streak just blew through and it snowed down there actually.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But man, everything's kind of warmed up, man. So man, what you're seeing me wear right here, normally I got a dry fit sleeveless shirt on, the same shorts, tennis shoes. I don't worry about no snake boots. Because it's hotter than hell inside those deer stands, and I'm begging a cold front to come in. So my question is, as I'm sitting there sweating my ass off, what lengths will you go to get out there in the wild, whether it's elk or whatever? I had my brother, he was up in Colorado. They was on the side of a mountain, the sun was going down, they spotted an elk. Him and the guide went down to try to get a shot at it. The storm blew in, they ended up sleeping on the damn side of the mountain. His wife was up there with the horses. Everybody turned out to be okay. They rejoined each other in the morning, but they both had frostbite and stuff like that, and didn't lose any fingers or nothing. But I told my brother, I said, Scott, man, that's cool that you're in all them adventures and stuff like that. But I said, man, after beating my ass up for 15 years, I'm going to Cadillac it. So, Luke, I'm asking you, now from going your Leesburg days to now your Luke Bryan superstar country music singing days, will you get out there and rough it?
Yeah, man. What's funny is when we go into when I get the chance to go hunting, I don't miss a hunt. You know, some of my buddies, I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but they'll get in the brown stuff, the liquor a little too much, and they'll sleep in the morning. But typically, man, I get up and go because I geek out about it, and especially when we do our elk hunt. There's nothing more rewarding than striking out in the morning and start chasing bugling elk. And next thing you know, you look at your GPS tracker and you done put 12 miles in, and you done drawn back on 2 smaller bulls that you didn't shoot. And the next thing you know, you shoot one, and then you got to pack that thing out. So I'll get out there and, go and that, because it's liberating. It's nothing's more rewarding than going out there and chasing elk and having to pack them out. But yeah, I'll get out there, and I haven't done like a big old high altitude sheep hunt or anything. Right. But like I said, I'm so daggone busy with the career. So, when that stuff slows down, my wife and I have talked about this. I'm like, I try to stay in shape just so, one day when heck, I hope I look half like you when I'm 50, but it's so you can go do these cool, right, these hard, strenuous hunts. You don't want to be, I want to be able to do that up into my 60s, especially when I was able to take my nephew, Teal, who lives with me. He just turned 16, but he came, and when we get done here, I'll show you some video footage, but Teal killed his first elk. And so the first day of my elk hunt, I videoed and guided him and helped him. So trying to stay on the heels of a 15-year-old running up and down a mountain, you got to be in shape. And, so yeah, when I'm in deer camp, man, I try to hunt. I don't miss many hunts. I don't sleep in. And I've always got my boys there with me. And man, I'm so proud because my youngins, my 6, he's 7 now, but last year, my 6-year-old sat with me 13 times before he got, and he did, I had it figured out. I have some games on my phone, some M&Ms in my pocket. But he sat there with me for 12 sits, and then he finally got his first buck. And like I said, he's 7 now. And
was he playing the video games, or was he tuned in with everything?
You can tell when you're losing him a little bit. You let him play for 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll keep scouting. But you want to keep it fun too. I don't want to take him so much that I burn him out. It's like sports.
Yeah.
You don't want them to be burned out at an early age with hunting or
but
fishing.
Man, talk to me about chasing them elk, because I was talking with Mike before you rolled in the room, and he's wearing some cologne over there. And I said, man, you pass the test. Because, a lot of times you just get up on somebody and they walk by you in the airplane and it wafts, just hits you like, oh, man. So as we shook hands a while ago, I know you're sporting a little cologne. That's part 2 of my question, scent control out there. Because, man, them elk are just super smart. Yeah. It's all about that nose.
Yeah.
So talk to me about scent control, because you're using the bow, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to get close.
Well, you know what's...
You got all the layers on? I watched your Bobby Bones interview. I know you ain't wearing no deodorant. Talk to me, brother.
Oh, it is, when you first start elk hunting, their ability to smell you is unlike, and working the wind. I'm real blessed to have, the guide that I used for years. Man, he will go through 2 bottles of scent stuff. Yeah. He'll take 10 steps and check it, because, those thermals on the mountain, the wind will be hitting you in the face, but you don't know where the thermals are taking you. And there's been many times that me and my guide, man, we'll about get into it on the mountain, because the elk will be right there. And I'm like, Dole, let's go. And he's like, no, we're not going to go down there. When it comes to elk, I truly think you probably can't get scent free with an elk. I think they're going to probably smell you. If the wind shifts on you, and next thing you know, you see 30 of them trucking up the mountain. And we dealt with a lot of that this year, but then it's funny, you'll chase an elk and it'll all go right, and then the wind shifts, but then we were just sitting there waiting on some elk to come in, and the elk I shot just happened to be walking through, and it was the perfect scenario. We didn't even call to him. But yeah, it's something, through the years, I've learned to just really work the wind. I never will forget. I mean, last year I was hunting with Lee and Tiffany, Lukoski at their place. And man, we were hunting in a redneck blind, and we had all the windows shut. We had 2 Ozonics running in there.
Cadillac style, brother.
Yeah, we still had deer winding us that were in our wind. And we still lucked up and got it done. But, I mean, I love the Ozonics program, though. I mean, I've seen that work to a T. But, you know, half the time, too, I'm not one of these guys that I pack all my clothes and in the airtight stuff and spray it. You know, I'll spray it down with some scent eliminator and stuff like that. But I don't get too geeked out about being all scent-free out there.
The Steve Austin Show. The Steve Austin Show. The Steve Austin Show. The Steve Austin Show.
Coming up as a youngster in Leesburg, dude, I think there was a story. I was watching the video of you. I think it was your mother talking, and she used to rock you when you was a baby. Amazing Grace, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe, do you think that's where your musical instincts come from? Or just because I was just reading about your prolific songwriting. I mean, you said you'd write 120 songs a year sometimes, and you're not really doing that anymore, but you'd hook up with your writing buddies.
Right, back in the early days.
Songs way back in the day. When did you first, kind of learn, like, hey, man, I really, really like this, I'm kind of good at it, or just kind of have an affinity towards it?
Well, with me, I think every little process, I think the most important thing for me as far as being a songwriter and a artist, I mean, my parents, their radios never turned off a country radio. And so, I mean, from the time I could remember and recollect music, I mean, country music was on the radio and it wasn't anything else. I mean, and it kind of hurt me in a lot of aspects because, man, I didn't get any, my parents didn't listen to Beatles.
Right.
They didn't now they listened to, the only rock and roll was Elvis.
Yeah.
And, so I missed out on like the Beatles and a lot of these iconic rock acts, and people still ask me to this day, but man, I knew country radio from every artist from 1980 till present day. And, so I think that early on got me really, to where it was just second nature to kind of say what you felt like you needed to say in a country song. But then when you look at singing in church, writing some songs for my youth group in church, we do Wednesday night youth stuff at my church. And 16 years old, I'd be playing the guitar and doing these worship songs and stuff like that, these 2-chord, 3-chord worship songs. And then I'd write kind of a spiritual song and singing in church. And man, once I started doing that and seeing that, man, I'm writing these things and people are listening to them and it's affecting them. And then, I had some guys in town that I would write with and then I had a little band, and, we just never really overthought it, but we were just doing it because it was fun and we loved it. And next thing you know, I'm playing a birthday party here. I'm playing a little wedding reception here. And next thing you know, the college years come along and
but those years got delayed, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously
bad accident.
Yeah. With the loss of my brother.
Do you think staying at home and then, because you weren't going to go to college originally, you were going to just go out to Nashville.
Yeah. I had done a year at a junior college.
Copy. And
then, I just said that heck with it. I had my parents' blessing. And, their approach was, dadgum, you're 19 years old. Go try it. If you don't like it, you're 21 years old. I think when you're 19, you think you're old or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I had Nashville, I had an apartment picked out and everything. And when my brother passed away in a car accident, it just shifted my life down another path. And then I finished, I finished college and went and I couldn't imagine like my life without the college experience. I had so much fun, but I think I might have been a little immature for Nashville at 19 years old.
I was going to ask you, because you were probably playing local gigs, in college, right?
Yeah, I played, acoustic sets in college bars, and, man, I was learning how to play, country music in college bars and trying to keep college kids' attention and make sure they had a good time. So I was learning how to really, I'd learned that, this song didn't work on a college crowd, but, I could play a Merle Haggard song, but then I could play, a dadgum, the biggest rap song. And then I learned how to kind of, so I'd play Lionel Richie songs at the right time, and the whole college crowd would be partying. And so I learned how to really hopefully hold a crowd and entertain in a lot of those college scenarios. Cause if you're rolling into a college bar, I mean, they can listen to every form of music. A college kid, they don't have any, if they grew up under their parents' thumb and the parents only let them listen to, when it got to college, they'd listen to whatever. Right. So you had to work harder to keep their attention.
But keeping their attention then and keeping their attention now. Talk about the evolution of your music, because I know that you like to stick to some of what is
got
bread
me
and
here,
butter, but also to be able to get out there a little bit. Now here's my Zumba story. A couple years ago, I was just jamming this album. I had tailgates and tan lines on. I drove up to Reno, Nevada, 475 miles, pick up some deer meat. I listened to that album the whole time on the way up there. And so I was hanging out with my brother-in-law, and on the way back, and we'd kind of got that dark stuff you was talking about, the brown water. I was kind of feeling the effects when I was driving back home, and I said, dude, you got to put in what makes you country. We go over and talk to Luke. Man, I had my earpods in again, and man, that damn guitar hit me. It was like a lightning bolt hit my brain. I was like, man, that's a rockin' ass country song. I dig it. It's a great song. I love the whole album. Talk to me about trying to remain Luke Bryan, but also, man, dude, for the last couple of years, you're the hottest thing going. Tell me about maintaining that ride. I know you don't like to overthink things, but you got to put a lot of thought into this, brother.
No, you always got to think about it. You always have to. First of all, I have a really awesome inner circle of songwriter buddies. People. And I'm one of these guys, man. I really enjoy getting my label and hearing their opinions. I mean, some people don't want anybody's opinions about their music. I love to get feedback from my inner circle, from my house to my manager's office. The people in the room, they'll tell you, I'm like, hey, what'd you think about that one? And then my band, my road band, and my nieces and my nephew. And so I get all these opinions of songs, but then, man, I watch what my fans are doing. I mean, it's, I will forever, try to think about what they're wanting to hear. And am I going to bat 1,000? Am I going to knock it out of the park every time? No, but, I hope my fans know that if I get a little out there, if I do something a little crazy and people are like, oh my God, where's he going? But then I can always rein it back in. Yeah. I can tell when the fans, you were so in tune with what your when you did an antic on stage and you got a reaction from the fans, you knew that was the right thing to do. Man, I always figured you got to go out on a limb. I can always come back. Yeah. Or if that limb breaks, I just get up and start going again. But you got to push envelope, because that reminds me of off that same Tailgates to Tan Lines, Country Girl. Yeah. I was at the house. I'd already heard the song. And then my wife goes to Zumba 5 days a week. And all of a sudden she goes, we did a Zumba song to Luke Bryan today. And I'm like, BS. I said, what was it? She goes, Country Girl, Shake It For Me. I was like, okay, I get it. But so anyway, it's a great song. I love that song, but I would have never thought in a million years that my wife, who's a metalhead, would come home from a Zumba class saying, hey, I did a Zumba song to Luke Bryan today. Well, what do you think when you decided to take that one on? Man, I never thought anything but it was going to be ginormous. I never from the day we wrote it was the only time I was scared of it. Me and Dallas Davidson, and I was like, "Are you sure, Dallas? We can go there?" He's like, "Hell yes." And it was the simple fact of why I wrote Country Girl Shake It For Me was, it was early in my career. I was playing every country music honky tonk in the United States because at that time I could sell 400 tickets. I couldn't sell 1,000 seats. Well, maybe in a couple, but so, man, I would go to these bars, these truck stop bars. I'd go to Billy Bob's in Texas and Fort Worth. In time I got my butt off the stage, hip hop and dance, and the dance floor filled up. And I said, well, I've got to try to write a little something that makes people want to dance like these hip hop songs do that are, and the thing about country music is you can't use all of the language that they use and you can't, right. Your parameters are a little, but man, when we did Country Girl Shake It For Me, I never looked at it like, some people look, they want to say, well, oh gosh, you're objectifying women and you're trying to, look at them as objects. And I just thought of it truly as, man, these girls are going to hear this and just have a damn blast. Right. From my end, I didn't think about what critics were going to say. I didn't think about, was it going to set my career in. I felt that when people heard it, from college kids to everybody, they were just going to hear it and want to dance and party. And I mean, when I turned it into my record label, they didn't know. I mean, they were just like,
which direction is Luke going?
Yeah, well, they were like, oh my God, what do we do with this? And I said, put it out, let's go, put it out. And they went with me and the next single was I Don't Want This Night to End. And it wasn't my pick, but I went with what my label decided. And heck, man, it may have been bigger than Country Girl Shake It For Me. And then we went Drunk on You. And at that point, we were off to the races. I had always, I'd always felt, man, if you could put 3 or 4 ginormous songs back to back, then that puts you kind of to the mountaintop.
Watching the, God dang, it was Drunk on You.
Yeah.
I was watching that video the other day. I've been watching a bunch of them. I think I remember a video or some pictures of you. Were you in a drama class in high school?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah,
All right, well, talk to me about that. Was there any sports or was you drama? I mean, was you academic? Talk
this
to me
is
about
my
high school
sport.
days. I got 10 minutes left.
No, we'll pack it in there. But my sports thing was, man, from the time I was in kindergarten to the time I was in 8th grade, I was a pretty good athlete. I mean, I was a good baseball player, and I played football every year. And I was an all-star football player.
What position?
Well, I'd play, when I was little, I'd play like nose guard. And as I got a little older, I would play like tight end or something. But man, I got to where all of my buddies, I was the youngest kid in my grade. I had a mid-July birthday, and the cutoff was August. So, man, I looked around, and I was 1.5 feet shorter than everybody. I was wormy, and I was 5'7" in the 10th grade. And at the time, and I wasn't a gym rat, I wasn't working out enough to compensate. And, man, I was looking at these, we had, it's ironic. We had the worst football program in the state, but the best baseball program. And if there was a team of 12 boys, I was probably the 12th best player, probably 11th. But my dad was 6'3", so them coaches were saying, at some point, this boy is fixing to grow, 7 inches, and he's going to have an arm on him. And they kept talking to me. And I looked, and I never will forget, there was one boy that was a senior when I was in 10th grade. he hit 14 homers, and he got a scholarship to like a junior college. And I said, hold up, this ain't for me, because I could barely get it out of the infield. And so that's when music started happening a lot. And I went to my coach and I said, man, I just watched so-and-so crank 14 homers last year, and he got a junior college scholarship. I was like, man, it ain't for me. And the next year, I went from 5'7" to 6'2", and I was 185 pounds when I graduated high school. But so my 12th grade year, man, I did the worst. I mean, I took 2 PEs, keyboarding, Spanish, art, and then I needed one last sixth. I had to do English because you had to do 4 years of English. But then I did a drama class.
Right.
And, the drama teacher was a guy named Robbie Davis, and still to this day was one of the more influential, teachers and figures in my life. And man, when if I had anything going for me, I had a big, big, loud theater voice. So man, when I started singing, I'd walk around and go sing, and I wasn't shy to sing. I mean, I was in my little band, and when he heard my voice, man, it would make him. Now I was terrible at acting. I was a terrible actor.
That was my question, because watching you do all these videos, it looks like you're having a lot of fun. And I saw the drama class. I said, okay, man, this cat, his mother's humming with him when he's a baby. He starts writing songs. He's in a drama class. I mean, you're just born to be in the entertainment business. Turns out you got a hell of a voice. You put your band together. So do you enjoy the video making process? Because some of that stuff, it's glitz and glamour. It's fun. It's shiny. But when you're in there doing the grind, what the grind is like doing the promotion for this record.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that?
Man,
you got any aspirations to act?
I don't know. I mean, I've got aspirations to always be having fun and entertainment, my thing is I never want to pack my schedule full of stuff to where, I wake up and I've lost touch with the music, with my core, what got me here. Dance with the one that brought you.
Right.
But that, I took the American Idol thing because, man, I thought I would have fun, and I'm having a blast, and it's still music oriented. I'm getting inspired by that musically.
Yeah.
Now, if the right acting role came along and as long as, I tell you this, I ain't never going to be doing any acting where I'm making out with another woman and rolling around because that ain't happening around the Bryan household. My wife's going to shut that down quick. But, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing roles like that anyway. But, man, if the right role came along and it doesn't pull me away from my family, I'd always entertain that stuff.
How you draw the line right now between all the Idol and the things you just mentioned? You're touring, you're pushing this record. When is too busy?
Well, too busy is too busy when, the back half of this year I was too busy, but I set myself up for it. Now, going forward, too busy is when I'm running around. My voice is tired. I'm not enjoying being on stage. I can't, when I come home, I'm so tired. I can't play with my youngins and be a husband and a dad. And I think too much is when, you're judging everything at home, and I can tell my wife is over it.
Yeah.
And then I need to dial it back. But she also gets me too. We laugh about retirement because I'm like, oh, baby, I'm going to retire. And she's like, you ain't going to ever retire. But, the main thing is, man, finding that happy balance. Man, I want to be the one that I want to be the one where I'm like a thoroughbred wanting to run to the stage because I'm excited about a show. As long as I'm doing that, that's my thing. That means I'm fresh out there. I'm giving the fans what they pay their money for. And then when I get home, I hope, and when I can take my boys out on the road and we can go have fun. And so it's just it's a delicate balance, but trying to trying to not overdo it, and also smell the roses every now and then.
You got
too.
to, man. I mean, you got to make hay while the sun's shining.
Right.
You know, you're still a youngster. You still got a lot of things you want to do. God dang, I was at the George Strait concert over at AT&T Stadium when he had 100 some odd thousand people there. And man, my doctor is his doctor, so we had the best seats in the house, and that stage was rotating, and it was the coolest thing because, as you know, he's a big influence on you.
Right.
God dang, George is George, and everybody there, man, had a smile on their face.
Yeah.
They were laughing, they were dancing and singing. It was one of the best times I've ever had in my life, and he's kind of starting to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, but it's hard for. How do you walk away from making fans smile? You know, and
that's just the
it's
thing.
like I see George, and you know, I know he's doing some shows in Vegas, and it's like, you know what? I think he said he's going to retire, and then you sit around the house, and then you're like, I mean, it is so addictive to be on stage, and man, like I said, the neatest part is to take a song from your songwriting room in your house to write that song. And then a few short months later, you got 20,000 people singing it to you. And man, that's hard. That's hard to walk away from. And it's what fuels you.
Hey, before I wrap up here, I was listening to one of your interviews when someone holds up a poster out there in the crowd. If you read the poster, you'll forget the lyrics to your songs.
Yeah, I don't have the mental capability to read and sing at the same time, but you got to laugh it off.
What's your pre-concert ritual? I mean, you go through one time I was at Ozfest, San Antonio. I was hanging out with Zach Wild, his guitar player.
Yeah.
Ozzy bangs in. There's a room besides that closet over there. Ozzy doesn't even know I'm in the room. I'm behind him, and he starts humming a few beats with Zach, and Zach's ripping on the guitar. And anyway, they go out there, and he's got the teleprompter, and they put on a concert, and, you know, Ozzy's in Ozzy land.
Yeah.
What's the process for you? I know I gotta wrap up and go home, but what do you do to get ready for a show?
Man, my thing is I do a VIP meet and greet. I play a couple songs at about 7:30. I go to my meet and greet at about 8. Do, you know, average about 60, 70 fans a night. And then I've got about 30 minutes, and typically I'll go into my band's dressing room. I'll make me one vodka and grapefruit drink, sit there, visit with the band. It's, you know, because my band and I, we're not on a bus anymore, which I miss because, man, we have so much fun cutting up. But so I'll kind of spend 30 minutes, you know, cutting up with the band. We'll talk some show notes. And then I'll have me a vodka grapefruit. About, 10 after 9, we go to backstage. We do a toast. I'll have me a little half tequila shot. And then there we go. I'm out on the stage. And, that's been a good little program that works. And, man, we have fun and try to go out there and every night give the fans, man, it's hard to pony up $50 for a concert. And not only are you ponying up 50, you're ponying up, you got 3 or 4 of your kids and your wife with you, so it's a $250 thing. So, man, I take pride in trying to do the best I can every night.
Dude, that's the same thing with me, man. If someone's going to pay their money, I wanted to, bust my ass to give them a good show. And so that was the same thing. My last question, I'm a time fanatic. I love watches. The wristwatch on your left arm, what is that?
It is a Patek Philippe.
That means you have made it, young man. Hey, man.
It's my end of year gift to myself.
What makes you country? I appreciate talking to you. It's good meeting you. Appreciate the music. Keep it up.
Anytime we can do this. This is enjoyable. Thank you.
Travels.
This has been a Podcast One production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
Action fans, this is your summer. With Pluto TV's Summer of Cinema, stream hundreds of your favorite movies all for free. Should you choose to accept non-stop thrills, stream Mission Impossible, love classic action adventure, watch Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Or if you prefer cars that are robots, there's Transformers and Transformers Dark of the Moon. Download the Pluto TV app to feed your need for action all summer long. For free! Summer of Cinema on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Hi, it's Kellyanne Conway.
And I'm David Plouffe, and we have some surprising news. We're teaming up for a brand new podcast, The Campaign Managers.
I know what you're thinking. Why would Plouffe and Kellyanne do this?
Because frankly, Kellyanne, we disagree on just about every issue, except about what it takes to win a presidential campaign. Kellyanne ran Donald Trump's campaign. I ran Barack Obama's campaign. We understand things like early vote. We understand how to leverage an opportunity and how to play defense when you've made a mistake.
2024 is an election like none other, and David Plouffe and I are going to take you behind the scenes like no one else can.
We're going to lean into our one-of-a-kind experiences, really educate our listeners about what to keep an eye on, and discuss the current strategies and tactics that both campaigns are deploying on the campaign trail.
We're going to disagree, we're going to dissent, but we're going to deliver. You won't want to miss this unique pairing. Join us by listening to The Campaign Managers with Kellyanne Conway and David Plouffe.
The first episode is out May 22nd, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy, Big Brother Jake, a.k.a. Jake Warner, my government name. Check it out. I host a show called the Big Brother Jake Podcast, and I've taken my talents to the biggest and baddest platform on the planet. That's right, baby, PodcastOne. My show is unique as I talk about everything. Life, sports, entertainment, being a single dad juggling several jobs. I'm a hot mess, but it's damn entertaining. Subscribe and review now on Apple Podcasts and listen on PodcastOne or wherever you get your podcasts.